As you know, Aberdeen City Libraries commemorates 125 years of the Central Library this year. How better to commemorate this than go back in time and meet some of the key characters involved in the development of the Central Library. Together with Quids in Theatre Company, we created this 360-degree film, which allows us to meet some of these key characters and unearth some treasures along the way. So feel free, come and explore. And here's to another 125 years.
Right, everyone ready? Have you all got your clue sheets? What I want you to do is to go around the library and solve all the clues on the sheet. Each clue relates to one of our library treasures which are on display in here. Okay? Ready, steady, go! And don't forget, there's a prize for the best one.
A frozen royal by a famous Danish writer.
Princess Elsa.
What?
Frozen? Silly, not that Frozen. That's by Disney, you know. No, it's not here. It's not here. What else is frozen?
Ice cream.
Snow?
Snow, that's it. Royal and snow. I've got it. The Snow Queen. It's my favourite story by Hans Christian Andersen. Let's go.
This is it.
Oh, definitely. Okay, let's write it down. Okay.
Look over here. What is it?
Oh my god, guys, go on.
What is it? It looks really old.
It's Egyptian. Look, there's a clue in the sheet about a mummy.
Yes, here, look. It's a mummy.
Bedtime reading for your mummy? That's it!
Definitely, let's write it down.
Yes.
Typhoid. That's the disease clue. Look, a poster on how to stamp out typhoid.
Oh yeah! This is really fun. I always enjoy coming to the library. They got such cool stuff.
Yeah, it is really cool here.
Yeah. Come on, let's go see if we can find some other clues.
Here. I think we've finished. Let's go back to the start. Good idea.
Nice to see the young people using the library. I always liked it if the young people came in and asked for information. I remember the library had just moved here from the Mechanics Institute in Market Street in... It must have been 1893. No. Wait a minute. 1892. I was appointed assistant in charge of the newly opened reference library. Oh, I loved it there. Especially the local history section, which was my particular favourite. I haven't been here for years.
Who are you?
I'm Miss Valentine. Emma Valentine.
Do you work here then? Why are you dressed all funny?
Oh, I used to work here many years ago.
Were you in charge then? Is that why you're dressed funny?
No, I wasn't in charge. That man over there was my boss. But I did work here for a very long time. 25 years to be precise. I always loved it here amongst the books.
Miss Valentine, may I see you for a moment?
Of course, Mr. Robertson. What can I do for you?
Why are these people here?
Enjoying the library. The library that you set up, Mr. Robertson. If it hadn't been for you setting up that library in the Mechanics Institution, all this would never have happened. Do you remember when Bailey Walker and Dr. Alexander Bain from the university opened it? Aberdeen's first public lending library.
Yes, I remember his speech went on forever.
Oh, he was praising you. I know you'd already arranged and catalogued the library for Sir William Forbes of Craigiebar and the library at Duff House, but this was something special. City Librarian of Aberdeen's first public lending library. You deserved all the praise you got.
Well, as a classics undergraduate at Aberdeen University, one hardly expects to be summoned by royal command to catalogue the private library at Balmoral for Queen Victoria. Such a surprise.
Imagine being summoned by Her Majesty Queen Victoria. What an honour.
Look here. Here's a booklet for the Balmoral Bazaar, held to raise money for the Crathy churches.
Oh my. I've not seen this before. But you wanted something bigger and better. This place. Do you still have your plans for the building?
Oh yes, they're over here. I probably shouldn't have held on to them, not since we opened, but I couldn't get rid of them, sentimental-like. The opening of this fine building in 1892 was the fulfillment of my dream.
Oh, and to persuade the great Andrew Carnegie to open it. That was really special.
He was a fellow Scot, born in Dunfermline. I knew he was going to be in Aberdeen, so he was the obvious choice.
A library outranks the benefits that any one person can do for a community. It is a never-failing spring in the desert.
Mr. Carnegie?
My wife and I were delighted to invest the sum of £2,000. Mind you, it did seem a very meagre sum compared to £10,000 that you managed to raise by public appeal. No mean feat, particularly in those days. Now, the architect who won the competition to design the building, a very fine fellow, Alexander Brown, wasn't it?
Yes, we were just looking at his plan.
Ah, yes. Now, it was built in granite, in the symmetrical Renaissance style that was to become very popular for Carnegie libraries all around the world.
Oh, and we were so grateful to be one of the first libraries to use it.
Oh, well, I was given the freedom of the city, you know. Oh, yes, yes. And a ceremonial Burgess ticket, which was attached to my top hat by a crimson ribbon, if I remember rightly. That was the 5th of July, 1892, wasn't it?
That's right. And there were marching bands, and you rode through the city in your open carriage like royalty, and there were flowers everywhere. Oh, crowds cheered you on. I remember it well.
Yes. The Free Library opened here today will, I believe, stand and extend. Its roots sinking into the pleasure it will give for generations to come as the centuries roll by.
That's what you said in your opening address, wasn't it? A purifying stream of precious knowledge. Oh, that was lovely. It stayed with me. It inspired me to continue my work with the library so that everyone could benefit. That's what this has become. And you, Mr. Robertson, installed electric light in the building in 1896. Oh, I was so grateful. Made reading so much easier.
Yes, and you created a manual to help readers too, didn't you?
I did. I think they still have a copy around here somewhere.
Ah. Perhaps we should go and find it.
Over here, look. A.W. Robertson, Manual for Readers, 1892. I didn't think they'd still have this. It's an antique now.
My dear lady, it's only 125 years. Now, my favourite artefact was the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, that's old, a real antique.
But then you just resigned. 1899, you were only 52, I believe. What made you give it all up?
I wanted to devote my time to study. There was so much that I wanted to learn.
To become a cartoon character.
Yes, I'd forgotten about that. Shiner, they called me, if I'm not mistaken.
But the library carried on without you.
Oh, of course. A library is more than any one man.
And so it has. Since you opened the library, many city librarians have had the privilege of leading us. Oh, I really enjoyed my time here. Helping people find out information about the city, what was going on in the world, anything really. But my real passion was local history.
I seem to recall that. You contributed a great deal to a catalogue on the local history.
Well, yes, I helped in some small way. Do you know it took us 2 years to compile the local catalogue, consisting of an alphabetical list of books, pamphlets and maps, and including an appendix of over 200 paintings, engravings and photographs.
Oh, goodness.
It was actually published in 1914 and cost sixpence.
A little after my time, I'm afraid. I died in 1911.
Well, even though it was just for a visit, I was honoured to open the library here. Oh, yes, indeed. Now, you see, I gave £5,000 to my hometown of Dunfermline to open a library there, and it was such a great success, I decided to finance a worldwide programme of 3,000 libraries across the whole English-speaking world. Oh, yes.
3,000? Oh my, so many. And we're very grateful for your help. After Mr. Robertson left, another city librarian took over. A local man.
I know. That would be me you're speaking about. I caused a bit of a rumpus when I got that job.
Oh, I think people were just shocked that you were appointed with having no experience working in a library.
Well, a methlic loon. My first job was as an apprentice stonecutter. And I'd still be doing that to this day if it wasn't for an accident that lost me an eye. So then, became a journalist. Oh God, I love words.
That's important for a librarian.
Well, I lodged a whole volume to show my scope of my work, both literary and social topics. And 17 testimonials in order to get this job. A bit of an overkill, you might say, but, oh, well, I wanted the job that much, you see. I think I just wore them all down in the end.
You doubled the stock of the library. By the time you left, there were over 500,000 book issues. You even wrote a number of books yourself. Historical Aberdeen, The Green, not to mention Aberdeen street names. I don't know how you found the time.
But what I loved best was giving the local history lectures. Well, now.
Oh, I remember that's how you always used to start each lecture. Well, now. Sometimes you had up to 300 school children attending your lectures. Ooh, that was a hard audience.
But that was the audiences that I loved the best. These young, inquiring minds.
We still have your notebooks, you know.
No.
Over 70 of them.
Let me see them. Well, well, if I would have kent, if I would want to keep all this stuff, there's pictures and there's articles and there's clippings and there's drawings and there's even letters amongst that lot.
Do you remember those magic lantern slides we were given? 673 of them.
Oh, how could I forget that? Good God, it was a wonder of its age. My goodness, who'd have believed that I've kept all that?
Well now, Mr. Fraser. How delightful to see you again.
Marcus Milne.
The very same.
Gosh, I minded the first day you walked into this library as a junior assistant. Gosh, you doubled up as an attendant in a reading room as well. And, if I mind right, you had a wee stint at being a janitor as well.
Aye, cleaning out that furnace on a Saturday afternoon was a task I carried out with great gusto and lots of dust. My military background liked everything neat and tidy.
You were introduced to commercial reference section.
Yes, the public were becoming aware of the value of a commercial department by 1945.
And you set up the casualty recording service during the war. You knew how the families felt to have a soldier missing.
Now, was you in the Gordon Highlanders before you joined us?
Yes, that was a very difficult time. Thankfully, the library survived untouched. Such a shame that not all employees were so lucky.
And the introduction of Children's Book Week in 1945. Don't forget about that.
Well, it was the end of the war. We had to prepare the next generation for a new world.
But we had some grand times too. Look at these coronation brochures. People really knew how to celebrate then.
After the war, people were thankful to have survived. We wanted to build more libraries, give others the chance to share my love of books. I was determined that new libraries would be my greatest legacy. Stockett Hill, Northfield, Maastricht, Camehill and latterly Kincorth. It took time, but we got there.
Don't forget the mobile library. That was an innovation.
That first little girl who borrowed a book in 1950 from a mobile library. I still remember her name. Dorothy Masson, aged 11. One of the proudest moments of my life.
But you expanded the service so much. Housebound Readers Service and the improvements to the branches at Maastricht and lots of others.
I had a vision that everyone would one day have access to a local library. The chance to discover what books can offer.
And the new children's library in Kincorth with a stock of 12,000 books in 1967.
The swinging 60s. I can't believe time has passed so quick. 30 years as chief librarian, over 40 in this very building. A lifetime.
But what a legacy! So much to show for your hard work.
Well, Mr. Milne, what brings you back here?
Bill, I don't believe it. How are you? You were the best deputy librarian I ever had. You had a real love of books. You became a leading authority on library development in Scotland. I'm sorry you didn't get to stay in the job long.
Only 4 years as it happens. Just 4 years.
Oh, but what you achieved in that time.
Well, I actually followed in your footsteps. Once I opened up the new library in Airy Hall in 1969, I overhauled and reorganised all the library's policies and procedures, taking them into the 20th century.
Good for you. Important that libraries reflect what's going on. Not stuck in the past, up to date and relevant for all our readers. That should be our motto.
I agree, but I still think it's important that we hold on to our roots. I think it's good that people can have access to things that have happened before they were born. That's why I created the microfilm for Aberdeen journals. It dates all the way back to 1866. Now you can gain access to any news article you like.
What? Without the papers in front of you?
Mm-hmm. Would you like to have a look at the plans for the new area hall build? I'm sure they're around here somewhere.
Over here.
Oh.
Excellent, Bill. Certainly a commendable achievement.
I just wish I had had more time. The things I could have done, you know.
With the death of William Edward George Critchley, a wise and kindly soul passed from the Scottish library scene. He had boundless enthusiasm for libraries in general, but for public libraries in particular, which sprung from a profound belief in the value to the community.
Did they really say all that about me? Well, I never.
People were devastated when you passed on.
Is Peter around here? I heard that he took over from me after I died.
Well, luckily for us, Peter had been your deputy for 4 years, so he was the perfect choice to follow in your footsteps.
You know, he had all these great ideas. I think he got them from the time that he spent in the Americas. It was New York, I believe. He came back with all these newfangled Yankee ideas.
Is that you, Bill? I thought I recognised those dulcet tones. But you can't blame the Yank for me wanting to bring the libraries into the modern age. It was exciting times. Come and see this. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
It took 3 years to complete, 1978 to 82, but it was worth it. We had a new extension and a new system, automated mind. We had a computer system that recorded, catalogued and ordered. Could you credit it?
Is that not around about the same time that the oil and gas sector first came to Aberdeen?
Just after. It was an important time for Aberdeen, especially for the commercial sector in the city. The first oil and gas bibliography was compiled and produced by the commercial and technical staff in 1978.
And the library began its own publishing programme, didn't they?
Oh well.
Really? What sort of items?
Yeah, we published Christmas cards, postcards, as well as prints and booklets. The first Christmas cards we did, I believe, were of St Macha Cathedral, if my memory serves me correctly.
So, it sounds like the library was really beginning to diversify into other areas, I mean, not just books.
Oh, I think it was wonderful. It shows that the library was really becoming an important hub in the community.
That's the word.
Not just a place to borrow books and records, CDs and eventually videos as well.
A great achievement, Peter. I'll grant you that.
Yeah, I like it. Well, in 1980, we installed a computer terminal linking to Urenet Diane, which provided information in the science, technical and commercial from all around the world.
Technology just advances so fast, even since my day. I'm just happy that the library is able to keep up with it all.
Yeah.
Such advances. I could never have imagined it.
The new extension to the building was opened by Her Royal Highness the Queen Mother on the 20th of October 1982. Look, here's her signature in the visitors book.
Oh my! Royalty. In our little library. There have been so many changes since I began working here in 1890. That's over 100 years ago. Doesn't time pass quickly?
There are no more city librarians now. We're all that's left. It's a library and information services manager now.
There have been so many wonderful developments and changes in the 125 years since we've been here. And I'm sure there are many more to come. Libraries are the heart of a community. And so it will be in Aberdeen for years to come. It has been a privilege to meet all the city librarians. Some who I knew, some who I didn't have the pleasure to meet, but who each helped to make the library what it is now. We all owe you a huge debt. But here's a toast to the next 100 years and what it will bring.
for that. Did you get first? Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah. Let's look at that. But I think our group's still gonna win. Obviously. No, we're gonna win. We are going to win. No, really.
Excuse me, do you know when women started working in this library?
No, now. That was a very long time ago. At least from 1890.
1890? That's a very long time ago. How do you remember that?
Because, my dear, that's when I started working here. In the reference library. Enjoy your time here. It really is a magical place.
She just